My name is Sarah, and I'm joining you from Croatia. And I'm very happy to be asking our guests some questions and mostly listening to all the great things that they have to share with us. And so the topic for our conversation today is NADA and pregnancy. And NADA with pregnancy, for pregnancy, and Nancy Smalls and Ralph Robin are really the foremost leaders in our community around this topic. And so this is kind of an incredible moment that we have to learn from them and talk with them. And we really appreciate that you've joined us for this conversation. Nancy, I'd like to begin with you first. If you would just introduce yourself and tell us about the program that you developed at Lincoln Recovery Center to serve women and mothers and how that was structured.
Well, as you said, my name is Nancy Smalls. I came to Lincoln Detox July 5th. Boy, that's so long ago. 1973. And I went on staff. I was part of the nursing contingent as we were giving out methadone in the detoxification mode. All right, we were detoxing folks 5 milligrams every 3 days. That went well until we told them what was happening. I usually gave 3 days of zero medication to prepare. Everything was fine, but you know, once you tell them what's going on, it was hell to tell the captain. Now, we had older population, 35, 40. They'd been on methadone for years and decided they didn't want to do that anymore. So Michael Smith decided he would hook up with Dr. Wen, who was an acupuncturist, and that contingent came on board. That worked very well. All right, so that was 75 thereafter. Now, in October 1986 is when we really started dealing with women. We were the only game in town for treatment for women that allowed them to bring their children with them. And as you know, every woman got a kid of some sort somewhere. And the other programs were designed for men, so they weren't acclimated to having children running around and whiny, crying women. So it was us. And Mike decided that we needed to have a program for the women because there was just too many of them around. So he decided to rope me into that. And being a Leo, I'm lazy. I want to look good, smell good, give a few orders, and don't sweat unnecessarily. So I'm like, okay, Mike, you want me to do with this? And he said, well, you know, we need to put something together structurally. Okay, what's that? I asked him for a book. He told me there was no book. I said, I beg your pardon. He said, you're just going to fly this by the seat of your pants. And if it doesn't work, he said, we're going to put it up under the fraud file on my desk, and only you and I will know. I said, all right, I can handle that. How much you paying me? That was the big faction, money. So he made a nice offer, took him up on it. And we started, January 1, we started maternal substance abuse in 1987. Okay, I structured a program that I thought was going to work. And of course, by the end of the week, it was in the garbage. And I had to come back with a different approach. And the one I took was, if I was a patient, what would I need to make me want to address my issues, all right? So I put together a program that was 6 weeks long. You had acupuncture every day. You dropped the urine every day. You saw your counselor every day. We did women's rap group at the suggestion of one of the clients who said they all had lots of stuff they needed to talk about, but there was no place to do that. So that went so well, I made it mandatory. Then we were the only program to have a women's NA group going on. And that came about because NA, of course, was co-ed, and the women were saying, you know, I want to tell my story, but I want the guys in the group to like me, so it's not going to go well. So we made a women's NA group. So at the end of that, we were the very first to have a totally women's-orientated outpatient drug abuse program. All right, your children were welcome. They ran rampant through the place, but there was always somebody watching. We had easy access. The program was from 8:30 in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Women aren't going to stay with you all day anywhere. I don't care what you're giving out. And we gave out breakfast at one point, and then we always had a hot lunch because a lot of these women were in the hotels and the shelters and eating all kinds of junk food. Okay? And that's how we started that. Now, pregnant piece, we were giving people acupuncture, of course, and you happen to look at somebody one day, and you're looking a little plump there. Oh, Miss Smalls, I think I'm pregnant. What? Okay, and we're giving you 5 points of acupuncture, and you're pregnant. Somebody decided that maybe we should cut down on the points and give 3, but we'd been giving them 5 all along, and they didn't know they were pregnant. Now they're pregnant. Nothing happened when he gave them the 5 points, so we just continued doing that, and all went rather well. In 1991, we got a grant to have the very first outpatient prenatal substance abuse clinic in the country. So the first year we couldn't put it together, and then I brought on my friend Jeanette Yard and Robinson, and we put that together, and that went on for 5 years, and it was called the Sisters Program. We took pregnant women in there. The first year, I think we saw over 1,000 women. Acupuncture worked wonders. They told me it made the delivery better. I can't believe that. I have 6 kids, and ain't a damn thing made no delivery better. Okay, but the babies' weights were all up to par. Everything was simple. If you make it easy, attractive, and workable, the key word being workable, you won't have any problem having women, patients, pregnant women, or anything come into the program. They just have to see a light at the end of the tunnel and a lot of TLC given out so they feel comfortable and simple and make life very easy for them. And that's what we did for years until December of 2011, when we had to move out and go to another building, and the new administrator decided that children were a liability and they couldn't come to the program, and that just canceled all of that. Very, very disheartening and frustrating. Okay?
Thank you,
Nancy. And that was it. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. That was a very comprehensive introduction to those services. And so, Ralph, we would love to hear sort of what your initial connection with Lincoln Recovery Center was. How did you hear about it? And how did you connect with Nancy?
Okay. So thank you for me to invite you to invite me to the first conference with a Zoom. It's for me, it's the first time, and I will try my poor English on you. Okay. So I'm more than 40 years in my subject, gynecology, obstetric, and acupuncture, and acupuncture. And I came in 1995 to Lincoln. I heard of it. At first, I heard of it from 2 patients from me. They were detoxed. I saw them a year later, and they told me that they had detoxed with acupuncture. I couldn't imagine, because my style of acupuncture, what I did in my clinic, it was not good. It was too complicated. It was, I think, too Chinese. And so then I said, no, that will not fit with acupuncture. And so we gave in that time methadone. Methadone for 3 weeks, for 6 weeks, maybe sometimes for the whole pregnancy. But it is not in general a good effect. It is better than nothing, of course, but it is a problem for the babies and also for the family, for the women. And then I heard from another clinic in the near of Hamburg, a small, very good clinic. They detoxed with acupuncture and they used the NADA protocol and some points more. So, and I went to them, and it was, I was astonished about this structure of treatment. Simple, daily, and well accepted by the patients and successful. And then I decided to go now to the fountain, now to New York. And it was also the 10th anniversary of NADA USA and the Congress in New York. And in that time, I spent a week in New York and visited Lincoln. And so in that time, I met Nancy. And I met Michael, of course, or Carlos Alvarez. And so I was about the tough structure of this clinic, but not only tough and structured, it was full of, Nancy told me, it was tough love. So, and then I saw what they are doing with pregnant, and I was astonished that they came with an emergency card also, and the thing on the first or second day was also to get needles. And so to that time, I thought, oh, is it right to give needles so in pregnancy? But it was a question of of my old education in acupuncture. And so I spoke to Nancy. She declared me all the things, what is to do. Also that the men who are also treated, the men in our clinic are in the ground floor. And and everybody had, you did right, Nancy?
Absolutely, in the basement.
And so with Nancy, I saw an attractive, with a lot of temperament, specialist with very experienced. So I could trust her from the first moment that she knows what she's doing. And so after some days, I feel that such a program, not so big, but such a program, we have to start in our clinic in Hamburg. And that it was after that when I came back. So we started with our nurses, midwife, and with my colleagues and social workers. So, and I'm very thankful that I could see it in your clinic, that I had contact with Nada, with Michael, with all that stuff from the clinic. And so we started in that year, and we did it for the last, 30 years or more? Yeah, from 1995. Okay. And so I saw that it is this kind of acupuncture with NADA, with the structure of a friendly atmosphere, of enough, it must be enough tough, and but it depends also from the team, of course. But we gave from the beginning all the 5 points, and in pregnancy, and there are no points what you can't give in pregnancy. At any time in the pregnancy, you can start with this. And that was for me a very fantastic experience to work every day with acupuncture, with ear acupuncture, with pregnant women. And also, we treated also from time to time their men, but also the children. It was not always that the children could also come to us So that was if a woman is pregnant, so it is in most cases not the first baby, and they could bring their children with them, and they get in the first time the seeds. So okay, so now I have to finish my introduction. Could you understand me?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is a question for both of you, and I'm wondering if you can just share some of the main benefits that you saw that the women in your program did have from getting the NADA protocol. What were the things that really stood out to you? What did they experience?
Well, for me, once they had acupuncture, they were able to listen more and realize what was going on around them. I called it corrective criticism, but you could see it in their face that they understood now what everything was about, what they needed to do to have their child with them, to have a clean baby. I tell them, if you got to me by the time you were 7 months pregnant, I can guarantee you a drug-free baby. A lot of them were connected to family court, child services, all kinds of agencies that were monitoring them because, of course, they were in the street, most of them. And it just made them more aware. One of the judges came to my program, and she stayed around all afternoon. She said the people that came in front, rather the women that came in front of her were more calmer. They understood what she was talking about. They seemed more friendly. They just had a better countenance, you know, and when she came to the program, she said, I can't understand how it's so calm and quiet here. You have drug-addicted women, also alcohol women. I just said, hey, look around. We give out a lot of TLC, and acupuncture takes away the want to get high. It brings you centered. It makes you calm yourself. And that's what you need when you're raising children, especially when you're pregnant. Good Lord, have mercy. But that's what I took from it. It centered my women, made them calmer, made them easier to deal with, and it made it easier for them to deal whatever outside was going on that they had to handle along with these children.
Ralph, any comments from you?
Yeah. So just when we saw them the first times, and so we do an ultrasound, of course, so then they can see that the baby is looking normal. But the more is when they get the first times acupuncture, also in a group, they were more concentrated, more alive, and they can more do their jobs from a pregnant woman. Also to have consultation, and so they were more, how to say, equilibrated or more relaxed in a way. Yes, and that was also good for the pregnancy. They could feel more their babies. So when they were 20 weeks or 25 weeks, they were more aware, alert. Okay. And of course, after that, when the baby were born, so not a lot of them took methadone all during the pregnancy, because we treated all who want acupuncture or other women who refuse it, acupuncture. But the most wanted it, and the more and the longer, so we would say the better the effect on the baby. And so a lot of baby had no withdrawal after. Typical is after 3-4 days or 5 days withdrawal on the newborn. That is a terrible experience, also for the nurses. But that was we were astonished about that. And it was not necessary. We saw that they came really every day. There were a lot of young pregnant ladies. They came twice a week or 3 times, or from time to time only a week once or twice. And there were a lot of very good effects to the baby. Okay. And also to the family. They brought the people from the family also with them, and they can get also some needles. Okay.
Well, speaking of good effects, it makes me wonder if any time either of you experienced some sort of a negative experience with the protocol or the services, that something kind of went in a way that you didn't expect.
No, never. It was so good. They would go out and get pregnant to come back in the program again. That was my problem. I couldn't get rid of them after I so-called fixed them. And I look up, and here they're coming through the door again. What are you doing back here? Oh, Miss Smalls, you can't put me out. I'm pregnant again. So I would say no. Everything went very well.
So the same.
Ralph, how about you?
Yeah, no, the same. I never saw an adverse effect. So I never saw any complications. What I could imagine that it is connected to acupuncture. Never.
Right.
And it is more, I was astonished about the acceptance to get needles and nothing more, some sticks in the air. So, and that they came again and again, and they wanted it, and they were not asked from me or from the staff, how are you, and is it good, or so, anything like that. But they brought flowers from time to time, or they said, oh, thank you, it's a good idea. And so it was for us also good to hear some things like that. But any complications, never. Never.
Absolutely.
Not with ear acupuncture, not with the NADA protocol, and not with any point of the NADA protocol. So, okay. It is sure, simple, and effective, and it is nice and friendly. Okay.
That's beautiful. Perfect. We can't have a better endorsement for that than both of you sharing that. We have about 5 more minutes before we might start to hear some questions. And one other thing that I wanted to ask you is your experience in using either magnetic beads or seeds, either with women or with babies or both. And
okay, I have to tell this tale. Okay, we had a patient called Valentina Ruiz. God, this woman had kids that were the worst kids in the world. Her son had to be, I can't remember his name, so I'm going to say Danny, just for point of information. He had to be 6 or 7. Okay, she'd come in early in the morning with these 3 little kids traipsing behind her. One day, I hear, Miss Smalls, yes, there's fire trucks outside. They want to talk to somebody in charge. I beg your pardon. I go out there. Danny had pulled the fire alarm. A couple of days later, Miss Smalls, the elevator is going crazy. It's going up and down, and the doors won't open. Okay. I go out there. It's Danny inside pressing buttons. 3 days later, Miss Smalls, there's water coming out of the men's bathroom on the 3rd floor. Danny done stuffed toilet paper down the sink and turned the faucets on. So we have a river of water. Now, one day, Valentina has finished her treatment. She's looking to go home. She's looking for him. We can't find him. This building has 3 stories and a basement. About 10 minutes later, here comes the lab technician dragging Danny behind him. Smalls, yes, whose kid is this? I said, what happened? He just came into the lab and told me, I'm going to fuck you up. I said, I beg your pardon. So now I said, okay, Joanne, where are you? We're going to put beads on this brat. and he's going out of here. Okay? So we pinned. Joanne came, she beaded him, and his mother took him home. So I couldn't wait for the next day. So I come in, and Valentina's there early, and she said, Miss Moore, I said, what happened? She said, he was asleep halfway home. She had to walk him home sleeping to get to the house. So by my count, listen, you can bead anybody, everybody, baby, grown people, old people, fat people, young people. It works. And that was my proof that those beads worked. Okay?
Awesome story. Thank you. Ralph.
Yeah. Okay. So when I have been in 1995 in that clinic, I think Michael told me that there is a neonatologist or a specialist some miles away from New York, and he treated newborns with seeds when they were in withdrawal. And so, okay, in that time, and we tried it together with the neonatology, and we saw that it is effectful for the babies for the withdrawal, and they had a lower medication necessary after that. It was possible to give them to their mothers earlier. And so that is it's a big thing if the medication is lower or nothing. And that was the first thing. And after that, I learned it so also from Lincoln and then from Joanne to use the magnetic beads. And this was a fine thing. So also during pregnancy, a lot of pregnant were not able to come so often. So we used the magnetic beads, 2 or 3 at every ear. And also when they brought their children after that, and they said, oh yes, he's crying and crying. So it was a very good effect on babies, newborns and babies when they were very excited and crying. So, and also later on with the bigger children, we use that beads. It's a good alternative. We like more in general to give needles because it is more what a doctor or a specialist can do. But the beads are very effective, and now we propose also for people. It's also possible for pregnant to give to take wie sagt man das? To applicate this magnetic beads by themselves. Mm-hmm. So I think you have videos. We have on our website 2 videos how to do it by ourselves. It is a website in Germany. It is nada-akupunktur.de. And so it is also possible. And to do it by themselves. Okay, so, but with children, there is, you can do it with newborns just after birth. You can do it all the next time, in next years of children with, they were too excited and without concentration and all that such thing. Okay.
And there's no side effects with this either.
No side effects.
It's very, very simple.
Yeah. And children, they get these beads because they are gold plated. They get it more than a present, you know, so more than a gift, for a gift than as a treatment. And this is also an effective. Yeah. You can start at every time of the pregnancy. You can start with this when she has a positive test, or when she comes after 10 weeks or 12 weeks, start in that moment when the pregnant is in your clinic or in your facility and you can offer it, then you can start. So the most women have very early an ultrasound. And in the ultrasound, they can see that the small fetus with 1 or 2 centimeters is alive. So, and that is a thing we like to do the acupuncture when a pregnant woman saw that there is a heartbeat. Why? There is also such stories that acupuncture could maybe make adverse effects, but it is completely shit. I tell it to you. We have thousands of experiences with acupuncture during pregnancy. There is no time when it should not be done. If you see her and she wants to have it, treat her. So that means postpartum bleeding. So we gave in the hospital in prophylaxis, but it was body acupuncture. Just after birth, there are some needles on special points and in the abdomen. So then the bleeding is less. So yeah, the blood loss is less. But we can speak about acupuncture in general. There are a lot of good indications during pregnancy and also after birth or in the first 6 weeks after birth or for breastfeeding. So there are fantastic indications for acupuncture that I think what should a midwife or a doctor do if they can't give acupuncture? So they have always to give any medication, and it is not necessary. Medications are sometimes, of course, necessary. But in general, the most things, also the baby blues or also bleedings, you can treat also very good with acupuncture. But we speak about NADA protocol. So you can give the NADA protocol always, but I wouldn't do that, especially in this situation when there is a strong bleeding. It is also good to survive with the NADA protocol, with NADA needles. It is general good to survive, but there are some points they are better to do that treating, okay?
Well, Ralph and I have been in this business for more than 20 years, 30, 40 years, and between the two of us, excuse me, we have seen no negative effects whatsoever. So, like he said, whoever wants acupuncture, come and get it and see for yourself.
Yeah. Me too?
Yes.
Yeah. It is safe, and it is also written in books from people, from authors who are very concerned to pregnancy, that it is safe, acupuncture in pregnancy and also in delivery. There are sometimes you can read more in older book from the old kind of TCM, that there are points in special months they are so-called forbidden or not good. But that means some bodily acupuncture points, never ear acupuncture, and especially not the NADA protocol. There is no point what it had any bad effects. And so I don't know. I never saw anything from complications. I told it you in my introduction that there is a bad effect of acupuncture during the pregnancy. Yes, you can do it. It is done. In a lot of hospitals and clinics in Germany, they do it in delivery. The effect is better if the pregnancy had acupuncture also in the weeks before. Then the effect for the delivery is stronger. The effect, but it is in general possible. They get the needles. They are a little bit fixed with a plaster, and the women can walk with the needles. There are some needles in the legs or in the hand, and they can move with it. This is done, and it is not only the pregnant, also the doctors or midwives know that it is good, effective.
Can you post the website that Ralph referred to so we can take a look at the self-administration of the beads?
Yeah, it is.
Ralph.
I posted. It is. It is a website. It is in Germany. It is NADA minus Akupunktur. It is German. It is not with C. It is with K. Akupunktur.de. De.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
yes, thank you. It's Ruth Ackerman speaking. I just wanted to shout out to you and Nancy. Thanks for that.
Hi, Ruth.
And can I just?
You know, it is the heir of our board member, and she is a psychiatrist for children, and she's also using the beads and needles in her hospital for children, and in Leipzig, and this is her heir. What you see in that film for self.
Okay.
Application.
Thank you. Can I share a little story about our perinatal program?
Why, sure.
Well, I came to see Miss Nancy Smalls in 1986, I think, Nancy.
Now, this is Ruth.
Yeah.
Damn, I don't want to know you that long, but go ahead.
So sorry to say it. But went back and started a perinatal program in Santa Barbara, which was very successful and continuous. And then in 2008, they lost their funding and scratched the acupuncture from the program. And last year, I went back to train everybody in using the beads because they still won't employ any acupuncturists. They don't think they have the money, and
wow,
it's ridiculous. But anyway, the woman who is the director of the perinatal program is a woman who came through the acupuncture program in its early perinatal days.
No kidding.
And she said, I was talking about the benefits of putting the beads on, and she said, well, how is it different from the needles? And I said, you know, that's an interesting question. And if you ever want to, I'm always interested to see if anybody has a story about the beads as opposed or as compared to the needles. So if you can answer that question, I'd love it.
Well, the beads are non-invasive, and you can leave them on until they fall off.
Yeah, that's what we do.
The needles have to stick under the skin, and you certainly can't sleep with them or walk around with them wailing, flailing in the wind. So, I mean, that's easy. The beads can stay on till they fall off.
Beautiful.
Much easier to deal with. You know, Ralph, are you there? I have a question for you, Ralph.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike told me one time that if you're having a breech delivery, there's a point on the little toe that you insert an acupuncture needle in, and it will turn the baby around. Has that happened with you?
Yes, but it depends on the time when you start with that point. And
okay.
it is scientific. It is
Right.
made in 2 university clinics that it is effectful. But you have to
Okay.
do it in that time about when 34, 35, 36 weeks, not later. Then it is not so effectful.
Okay.
And then it is possible that about a third will turn. And normally with 35 weeks, if you do nothing and without acupuncture, you will see that the most will have a sexual cesarean. And after that, in that time, there is no spontaneous, or not no, but it is only 5% is spontaneous turning. But it is effectful. And you can give moxa or needles with moxa on the small toes on both sides. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And it is scientific.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thank you.
I started talking. So 3 questions to, I think, everyone. 1, can acupuncture be strongly effective in birth planning, family planning? 2, can needles or ear beads and seeds have a positive impact on newborn intelligence capacity? And 3, can acupuncture fix prenatal malformation?
You got that one, Ralph.
Okay. So we did it in the last, routinely with pregnants in the last 4 or 5 weeks to give them needles also in a group. It is very good also group treatment. There is about 8 needles, 4 in every leg, right and left. It is in the last 4 to 5 weeks before the delivery. And that makes, the effect is that they are, that the birth is, I can say, smoother, so that it is not with so many stops and so like so not in Chinese, not so chi distances, disturbances and chi deficiency. It makes the chi more fluently. It is more fluent, and so with also with the pains. So that is also a very scientific. 2 university showed that it is effective. Okay. Preparing the delivery. Okay. What is the mode of action of acupuncture? It is not a special kind of surgery. It is not a special kind of manipulation the body in that way what the doctor or the midwife or anybody wants. It is in general an impulse on special areas on the outside to give the impulse to the body, to the organism, to make his job what he can do better. You know, it is in general equilibrating. It makes the body soulish and the body. It makes in general stronger, that he can better do his job, what is to do. And that is also the reason why acupuncture has not terrible side effects. Yeah. If you see 2 acupuncturists, they will not do the same points in the same patients. They would decide different things. So it is completely a different mode of action than a medication. And that is what we have to think on. We give the impulse, and the healer is the body what we give the impulse. Okay? It is understandable or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Just before we go, thank you so much, Nancy and Ralph. I so appreciate it. really, really appreciate it. One, you know, Mother Nancy is a legacy, and
Thank you.
You know, Ralph, your energy is just so rooted. So I'm so appreciative of it. You know, so we're all eager, you know, as we shelter out and all of that it's providing. Like, what would be your, if you could tell someone, because I'm continually working with clients, you know, through the Zoom and tiles and stuff like that. And one of the things is they're asking me, gosh, I don't have any seeds. I don't have anything. And my kids, you know, and the children are home, and Lord have mercy. I had
That's
one,
what I say. I'm glad I ain't got none of them now.
Claudia, very good. So I tell people, look, whatever you have available, do you have some tape? Do you have, you know, a seed, a bean, a pea, a litten, a rice, you know, and all of these kinds of things, or maybe use the end of a Q-tip to stimulate certain ear points. Whatever you have is available. But I just was wanting to explore with you, like, what could you kind of suggest for the people that we love and care about and their children, and working with them through these kinds of struggles that we are now having? Because here in New York, I don't think we're going to be really, I'm not going to be getting back into my offices until probably June. Maybe,
If then.
Yeah, because we're still waiting for the second wave.
Yep.
Go ahead on. Thank you.
Well, I imagined a grain of rice might work well, but then you need some adhesive tape to tape it on. What do you think, Ralph?
Once more, I didn't hear. Give me once more the question, or the
What would the substitute be for a magnetic bead if you didn't have one?
You can take the seeds.
Yeah, that's what a grain of rice, a seed.
Or you can also do a massage on that point.
Right.
Do it every day, or whenever you can do it. You can find the point. It is not a small point. It is an area, Shenman, or also the other points, and you will see the effect. And it is good to sit quiet, or to concentrate a little bit to your feet, or you sit and then you do it. And they did it. The staff of doctors and nurses who had to treat COVID patients. So it is a hard thing to see the people die in a terrible way. They used it for them. We couldn't train them in that time because, of course, we couldn't give the typical NADA protocol education, but they did it in some facilities and some clinics for themselves, for the staff who is treating these patients. So it remembers me on the time from 9/11, when NADA in New York gave needles also to the firemen. So to work in a better way and to be stronger, and for that you can use the beads. And I heard some presentations about that the beads maybe have the same effect than the needles. I can't say it so in general, but it is more and more. In Austria, they give more and more at every ear 5 beads on the points. Yeah, so it is more and more common to give that also, and to give oneself a massage on that point. Okay.
Can I say something to Nancy?
Sure.
Nancy,
Hello.
Rita.
yeah, hi.
Hi.
I just want to. I just want to tell you, if you see Valentine, you have to say hello to her. And
For you, huh?
And yeah, from me. And when I heard what you told me now about her son, I understand why she wants to give him to me. I'm happy that I didn't do that. Thank you.
Hi, Rita.
I love you.
Love you.
Oh, that was funny. Ralph, I want to thank you so much for coming on this conference with me. We appreciate you greatly, and I'm so glad to see that you're still in good health and hanging in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I love you. And
I love you too.
I love you. I love the tough ladies and men from the NADA in the US. And so I learned so much. And thank you that you withstand my English.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely. I love a man with an accent. Oh, my. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I want to say thank you to both of you. We're so grateful that this conversation could happen. And we just, I don't know, I'm personally thrilled that conversations like this can bring so many of us together who are really all over the world. I think really this is a record for how many people from so many different continents and countries have come together to listen. I think it really shows this is a really important conversation to have. It's really important to trust our work and to trust that what we do is safe. And I think that this conversation is going to become just as important of a resource as papers that are published and, you know, scientifically proven research. I think that this is practice-based evidence as well as having the importance of evidence-based practice, and NADA is the best practice-based evidence I think that exists in the world. So you know,
one must understand NADA members are family. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's why when somebody calls and says come together, we're no matter what.
Right. That's right.
Yes, Nancy, and we are the grandparents.
Ralph, stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
You know, since you're both on the line, this is Ruth Ackerman again. I want to thank you both for making the work we've done here possible for so long and being so inspirational. Never mind, I'm the same age as you guys.
Hey, listen, don't even go there, okay? Look, it was fun. I loved every minute. I still love it. And when somebody calls me, I say all the time, I'm not going to do that anymore. But that doesn't seem to happen. You know? Ruth.
Boomers.
Yeah.
How's your husband, Ruth?
Oh, he's got Alzheimer's, but I'll tell you a little story. He's really pretty far gone, but at one point, about, I'd say a year ago, we started putting the beads on him.
Right, good.
We had done it before, but in that particular episode, when we put the beads on, he turned to me and he said, it's like someone turned the lights back on.
Wow.
And so I would be super interested if anybody is doing any work with people who are having cognitive problems or are looking at Alzheimer's or other.
Well, you need to start that.
Well,
you need to start that.
Hey, Ruth, we can
Thank
talk.
you very much.
We can talk.
That's what you get.
I did that
for sharing.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to mute myself from now on. But anyway, deepest thanks to you. Love to Rita too. Bye.
Okay.
I think we are at the moment, at the end of the hour. So thank you everybody for joining us. Tanea, any other closing comments to share?